In this video, I'm gonna give you topics to talk to women when you want to approach them, even if it's on the street, maybe at your business place, the job you have, or in public, or even online. If you want to do this on Instagram, Tinder, Badoo, and whatever. Welcome to the channel. My name is Lauren. I am a dating coach. I have been this for the past 15 years. Okay, I have a lot of experience on the field. I work with guys as yourself every single day, and we have monthly boot camps over here in Romania, Bucharest, and we also do Euro tours around Europe, obviously. So the common issue as men have when we want to approach women is that we get a lot of headache. We get stuck in our head because we're in the rational mind and we make calculations, we think, we overthink, and then what we do, we suffer a blackout moment where we're talking to the girl, we just said, hey, excuse me, I just noticed you and I find you interesting. And from there, we're blocked. We don't know what to say anymore. And we tend to look for a logical string of things to keep the conversation going, but it feels weird, awful, terrible. And so this happens because, as I said, we're thinking way too much. Second is the fear of perfection. You're a perfectionist and you think that whatever you say has to be perfect, has to be witty, has to be funny, has to be engaging. So that's another myth, another misconception. Another thing is maybe you have fear of approaching women, or possible anxiety. So you're not taking action, or as soon as you're taking, you're like, ah! You have the perfect thing to say, but when you come over, then you're like, hello, and everything is mechanical. So there is a certain map, as you can see over here. I'm going to explain this in a few minutes. But before we proceed with this video, I just want to let you know that we coach people such as yourself every single month. In order for you to participate in our boot camps, look in the description below. There is my email. And when you contact us via email, one of my staff members will actually contact you back. 30-minute call where you can get to know each other better and you can help them understand how can we help you better. I cannot wait for us to work together, but I want to mention the fact that I don't work with literally everyone. Okay, I choose my clients carefully because I'm only interested in guys that want to do something and they're serious about it. So if you are 100% sure that you're serious and you took a decision, I cannot wait to meet you in person or online. I do online coaching as well. So coming back to the video, I said there is a map. So today we're going to talk about relevancy, which is one of the terms in a conversational structure that we have, which is made out of 5 terms. But today we're only going to talk about this one. And by the way, there are 5 conversational structures. Now, before we proceed, what is a conversational structure? Well, it's basically every single day we talk, we exchange information. But what if you can give a term to whatever decision you're making when you're talking to someone? So if you can do that, now you can actually learn this by some sort of a roadmap. Because when you're talking to someone, you might think, oh, I can actually apply something from relevancy, be relevant with the person, or I can actually validate her, which is another term, or I can give a disqualifier, I can tease, I can offer an emotional spike. There are a lot of terms, but I don't want to confuse you about this. Okay, so coming back to relevancy, you have 2 circles over here. This is you, this is the girl you want to approach, the girl you like, yeah? And one thing you need to understand, when you talk to a person, the things have to be relevant in between the two of you. It's not okay if the things are relevant to you, but totally irrelevant to her. So the things have to be relevant for both of you. This way, your circles, yeah, meet up, they connect, and you find yourselves in the middle. Now you have, what do you have? You have things in common. You have general situations, which is relevant for both of you. You're talking about passions or objectives, okay? So let's talk about some basic examples, which actually are some huge errors that a lot of guys do that they don't even know. So one is, you see a girl, you like her, and you're like, I'm just gonna go to her and I'm gonna be direct. Why? Well, you know, my dad approached my mom, so you do this on the field, approaching women on the street, and you wanna be direct. This is something that used to work in your father's days, yeah? Right now, because you have Instagram, you have all the social media explosion, online dating, it doesn't work anymore. People have a lot of options. People are actually terrified of having a lot of options. So they want people that are actually relevant. It's a very bad idea when you go to a woman and you're like, you know what? I just noticed you. I want to have a coffee with you. This is a very good example of a very bad situation, bad approach. Now, somebody with skills can actually pull this off. But if you're a beginner or like medium entry level in dating and socializing, social skills, this is actually a terrible example. It's not going to work for you. Why? Because you wanting to have a coffee with her is very relevant for you. Yeah, we all agree over here, the guys, I mean, but it's totally irrelevant with her. her. Why? Well, it's obviously something you want, but she doesn't yet. Why? Because she doesn't know anything about you, but she does know, however, a lot of things. She does know a lot of things about her other options. And now you might ask yourself, what exactly are her other options? Well, colleagues from work, other guys she screwed in the past. So other options, okay? And you gotta understand that there is competition, okay? Even if you are in a collaborative state of mind, there is competition. There are other men that are sleeping with her, men that she knows certain stuff about them. About you, she doesn't know anything. So, okay. Another good example is you see a girl, she's in the subway, and you go to her and you're like, excuse me, do you know like where is the nearest Starbucks coffee? Now, once again, it's relevant for you maybe because you're interested in, you know, like where is the coffee shop, but totally irrelevant for her. First of all, because you're in the wrong spot to even ask this question. How exactly is she going to explain to you where is the coffee shop when you're in a subway? It's very difficult for you to tell you, oh, you gotta go 3 stations and then you gotta go up the stairs on the left, you walk like 2 streets and blah, blah, blah. Can you see my point? So once again, it's totally irrelevant. Once again, you go to a girl, hey, I just wanted to say I like you. Now, it's a bit nice because it's validating her. It's relevant for you, possibly a bit relevant for her as well, because in the end, she's a girl. She knows like she's gonna attract some looks. So a bit of relevancy, but once again, you lack reason. You lack acknowledgement. You lack information. So you have a lot of guys sitting in a cafeteria, the waitress is coming, and you're like, hey, Alexandra, I like your name. I just saw your name tag. And she's like, oh, thank you so much. You know, and then you're like, you're very beautiful, by the way. And she's like, oh, thank you so much. I do appreciate this. And then you're like, here, put your number in my phone. I want to date you later. Now, this is actually a good approach from the way you're talking, but it's very bad and irrelevant once again for her because she doesn't know anything about you. She's not going to date a stranger and she's going to think you're a creep. You probably heard this from girls. They think you're a creep, a weirdo. This is why. Because she's like, this guy doesn't have the slightest emotional intelligence to understand that I do not know shit about him. So I'm not going to go out with somebody that I don't even know anything. If I am to go out, I will go out with my friends or with my ex or with a colleague from work, which I'm going to bang just because I feel pity about him or something like that. But she is going to go with someone that she knows something about him or that she at least feels some emotions about that specific person. So if you ever got an Instagram or got a phone number or just complimented someone or you had an approach and approach it lasted like 2 minutes and then you went for the Instagram for the pool and it didn't work and you got ignored, you stayed in scene after she gave you a scene, she ignored you, that is the reason why this happened. So coming back to our topic, when you're talking about relevant things, what exactly is relevant initially? First, you gotta tell her the motive, the reason you're coming to her. Why? Because if you don't give her the reason, she's gonna think that you wanna sell her something. You wanna sell some coffee or something. You wanna promote some shit. If you don't tell her the reason, she's gonna think you wanna bully her or beat her or rape her or God knows what. Think about it. If right now you don't know me and I just come, you know, from the back and I touch you and I'm like, hey, excuse me, and I don't tell you the reason, you're gonna think all sorts of things, but the fact that I am actually interested in you and I like you, okay? People don't know that. You assume that they know, but they don't know that because they do not know you. They don't know your intentions. They will always be very skeptical about you. Plus, let's remember the fact, seduction is 90% non-verbal. Only 10% is verbal, the things that you're saying. 90% is the things that you do, the way you behave, the way you act, the way you react, the way you interpret things. So when it comes to talking to her, tell her the reason. Try this. I don't want you to believe me on my words. I want you to try the things that I'm saying. Okay? When you approach a woman, tell her the reason why you're approaching her. This can sound like, hey, excuse me, I was with a friend actually, I just noticed you and I find you interesting. I wanted to talk to you. Hey, sorry, I was on my phone, but I just noticed you. Hey, excuse me, I just went on a walk and I just noticed you. Hey, I was just passing by and I just noticed you. Okay, so tell her the reason. Second, the very Next thing you want to find out is how much time do you have in the interaction with her. So you want to find the logistics. So you're going to tell her, excuse me, what plans do you have right now? Like, what are you up to right now? Okay. Don't be like, what do you do right now? Because this is actually like asking for, like putting the person in a position where she feels the need to justify herself in front of you. Okay, like you are entitled to know. Where you going? Why you're not stopping to talk to me? What do you do right now? So no, what are you up to right now? I was wondering, excuse me, what are you up to right now? What plans do you have right now? Okay, very elegant, by the way. And now that you've done this, you gotta think about relevancy even more. Because 90% of the interaction, do not forget, all circled around relevancy. So if you validate me, if you compliment me, there's not much I can work with. If you give me an emotional spike, it's gonna work if I'm 20 years old. But if I'm a grown-ass woman, it's not gonna work for me. Disqualifying me, only if it makes sense. So being relevant, however, makes me want to get to know you more and makes you relevant to what you're doing right now, which makes me not say that you're a creep or a weirdo. Okay, so what exactly is relevancy? So things in common, think about it. The only thing you're trying to understand from the person that you want to date is what are the things you have in common? What can we find that can be relevant for both of us? So now you might be wondering, so how do you do this? So think about it. Let's say, for example, right now you're coming in this room. I have my team, which is behind the camera, you can't see them, but it's like 4 guys. We are 4 guys. And you're looking at us and you're like, oh, I want to meet these guys. What is the thing we can actually have in common as men? So one thing might be, let's think about it, football, yeah? I actually hate that. But for the sake of this video, it might be football. You don't know me, so you're gonna suppose automatically that I am into football, into soccer, yeah? So then you're gonna be like, hey guys, so do you enjoy like football? You watch Arsenal and stuff like that? And you're gonna look at our faces. So maybe I'm gonna say, oh man, I love Arsenal actually, I like football. I'm actually more of a fan of Real Madrid, so to speak. But you're gonna see my colleagues that their face is like pretty blunt. So what do you understand over there, by the way, talking about emotional intelligence? You understood that you hit me, our circles unite, we have football in common, we have a passion, so we get to know each other better, but you didn't hit them. Your circles stay like this. Our circles connected, your circle with my colleagues separated. So what do you do right now? You're gonna cry to your mother. You're gonna go to your mother and be like, I didn't manage to build a connection with these guys. No, you're just gonna sit over there, and whatever reaction you got from her, you're gonna look at her and like, oh, nice. So go to the next one. What is another thing men might have in common? They drink loads of beer. You can try that. So listen, Roberto, do you like beer, by the way? Maybe you hit him. He's like, yeah, why? Oh, I actually love it. High five. So that's how you build a connection. Being relevant by the things you have in common. What is the thing you might have in common with a woman? Well, in order to answer that, you need to know what women love. What are some things that women like to do? They like to run, jog. They like to eat ice cream. They like to eat strawberries. They like to eat fruits in general, whatever. So you gotta open your imagination a bit. But be relevant for the both of you, yeah? So when you ask her, so what plans do you have right now? Oh, I'm meeting a friend, blah, 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 blah. You can answer the same way. Oh, I just went out. I wanted to have a walk in the park, but I just noticed you. By the way, Andrea, do you like ice cream? And she's like, yes, I love ice cream. No way, I can't believe this. I love it myself. Look how many things we have in common. Now you're teasing her. You see how easily it is for you to get playful? Now, let's say you're blocked. You're like, things in common, I don't really understand that. Okay. What if you're talking about general situations? A general situation is like, how is your day? How are you feeling today? Was it a long day at the office? You look a bit sad. Maybe I'm interpreting things. Maybe I'm wrong. What happened? You know, what other plans do you have today? What are you thinking of doing over there at the museum? General situations, whatever can happen, and like basic random stuff. This is what we call small talk. Now, obviously you cannot insist too much on that, because you're gonna lack the validation spike, emotional spikes and stuff like that, that actually make you connect, chemistry, like escalate physically, verbally. You gotta have these as well. But however, it is a starting point, especially if you didn't approach women in your life, you're new to this, and even if you're kind of advanced, but still you're lacking some certain steps, and you notice that, well, start from here. After you put a general situation, maybe you got an idea for things you have in common. Now you can connect these two. What is another thing? Another thing is passions. You can actually talk about passions, because, by the way, this is what you want to understand from the girl that you want to date. I'm not going to talk to a woman and I'm not be interested in what exactly does she like, does she love. I need to understand those to better understand if we have a match. And what is another thing that you can actually talk to her about? Future objectives, because regarding her objective, you can tell a lot about her personality. Okay, so if you think about it, this is actually the best version you can ever try and you can ever find on the internet. These are the things you talk to a person. Now, the problem is not the fact that you don't know how to talk about these. The problem is you don't have any standards, and that is the real issue over here. Because if you would have any standards, you would tell yourself, what is one reason for me to date the woman that is in front of me? What are my rules to consider this to be a good match? How do I test a woman? But for most of the guys over there, 99% of them, it's enough for a girl to have boobs and ass or a friendly attitude, and they're like sitting like this, obedient, and like, just go out with me. Let's hook up, let's go out. I'm such a little creep, and I don't have any experience, and I don't have any self-worth. I don't know myself, so everything is fine, just notice me. You can't be like that. So obviously, when you're thinking about approaching women, you should have standards, rules. I have rules when it comes to dating women. So she's gotta be, God knows how tall, so I'm only gonna go to them. She's got to be, God knows, red-headed, blonde-headed, it's your taste. And she's got to be, for example, very enthusiastic. So if I'm going to go to her and she's like, yeah, that's already a no for me. So I decide if I want to go out with her or not. She never decides that. I decide. I always tell my clients, like, don't live with this stupid belief that a woman is choosing you. Because yeah, a woman can choose you, but become the guy that is choosing the woman he's with. And when you approach women, when you open a lot of people, when you create options, you're the guy that is going to pick the women 1 out of 10, and you're the one deciding. But if you don't do that, you come from a scarcity point of view of life, scarcity paradigm, then you look at people and you're like, just notice me, I'm friendly, I can do that, I can do this, I can be your little puppet. Don't be like that. So once you have your standards, your rules, then you have more self-confidence. Then you look more grounded, more integrity. Because every time you act in that passive mode where you're like, people, please notice me, everything, I hope it works fine. When you're in that state, like, people are not going to respect you. You know, everything is going to affect your life. Pretty much. Not even the universe doesn't respect you when you act like that. And basically you become like everyone's carpet. They will step all over you. So as soon as you got some rules as well, you will understand the buyer-seller dynamic. Who's running? Who's more dependent? Why? What creates attraction? What keeps a woman over there in the interaction or in the relationship? And as well, you understand that when we say test a woman, we don't only talk for you to look at us and blah, blah. No, you got to test a woman. So if I want to see if the girl in front of me is actually congruent to what she's saying, maybe I can test her. I'm going to be like, do you like animals, by the way? And she's like, And I'm like, what exactly do you don't like about them? Because this. If I notice that she lacks empathy, I'm just going to like, I'm not going to date her. I'm like, oh, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure, but we're not a good fit. I'm even going to tell her that. And by the way, this is how I discovered on my skin that when you tell a woman, hey, excuse me, yeah, we're not a good fit, this is what's going to make her run even more chase you, because now you become the guy that is unavailable, that actually has a problem with her. You gotta enter in the mind of other guys, okay? Because when 99% are running after her ass, are dependent of her ass and of her validation, as soon as you behave even 10% in a different way, you're gonna get noticed, okay? So I hope this video helps. Think about this, study this, and please do go on the field and test it. You gotta test this. I don't want you to believe me on my word. I hate that. Go and test this. And as soon as you've seen the results, I'm gonna wait for you to look in the description below where you find my email, where you find my team, and a member from our staff is gonna contact you. You're gonna hold a 30-minute call, and we can book you up for online coaching or in-person bootcamp, which I highly recommend. So thank you so much for watching, and have a beautiful day.